Although Evelyn Rothschild looks like a harmless gray-haired old man, make no mistake about it, Rothschild and his ancestors have handpicked presidents, crashed stock markets, bankrupted nations, orchestrated wars, and sponsored the mass murder and impoverishment of millions.
The most respected bankers, Sir Evelyn de Rothschild is chairman of the investment company E.L. Rothschild and ran the merchant bank N.M. Rothschild for more than 20 years. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
If this bill doesn't go through even now, what is your thought about the results of that?
I think it's pretty certain it will go through because the Senate, being the senior House, although perhaps the House of Representatives doesn't like that thought, has put quite a lot of pressure. And I'd be very surprised if it doesn't go through. But obviously if it doesn't go through, we have an impasse which is very serious.
Lord Rothschild and his ring of power hide their identities behind 13 city council members who stand in as their representatives. On November 30th, 2000, Lord Rothschild, now in his 70s, got married in London to a wealthy Zionist businesswoman named Lynn Forrester.
Let me just go back to your piece, if I may, for a minute. It is true, I am married to a wonderful man whose name is de Rothschild. It is also true.
And he's a baron.
And he's a knight.
He's a knight. I just heard that Congresswoman suggest that Lady Baroness de Rothschild, who is that to be talking about elitism when you are obviously among the elite right now?
See, this is so sad when the Democratic Party plays the class card and they try to divide America and they try to say that somehow my opinion is less worthy than another person's because I have this wonderful life. I have a wonderful life. I want John McCain and Sarah Palin in the White House so other people can have that wonderful life.
Because a lot of Clinton supporters know. Can I call you Lynn?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
The couple then jetted to Washington and spent their wedding night in the White House. Just months before 9/11, they moved to New York and settled into their 18th floor luxury palace at River House, where 2 private terraces offered them front row seats for the scheduled 911 show.
We have raised now chopper 5. Anybody?
Stepping out of bodegas and stores. Well, look, now people are gathering in large groups. In fact, in one corner, I saw a group of people actually holding hands and praying. As I stand on the Act Street, which is closed, it is open to pedestrian traffic. Some people are watching crowds, but there's just no way for them to. I don't look at something that I can't.
Just how rich and powerful is Lord Evelyn Rothschild? Historically, the Rothschild family wealth was hidden in underground vaults. The Rothschild secret financial records were never audited and never accounted for. Their family commissioned biographies give the illusion that their family fortune has dwindled, but researchers estimate their wealth at close to $500 trillion, more than half the wealth of the entire world. Besides their many castles, palace mansions, wineries,
very different people from all different ways of life and difference between a one-night stand and the girl you marry. In fact, well, you want to marry Lafitte and certain wines which are like that, that one.
How did Evelyn Rothschild become the filthy rich Grand Vizier to Queen Elizabeth II and godfather of the black nobility? By birth, Evelyn Rothschild is the great-great-great-grandson of Mayor Rothschild and is passing the godfathership down to David de Rothschild. Their story begins in 18th century Frankfurt, Germany, on a cobblestone street called Frankfurt on the Main. Mayor Amschel Bauer was a goldsmith and a loan shark. He hung a red hexagram shield over his doorway and changed his name from Bauer to Rothschild, which means red shield in German. The red hexagram shield was the symbol for the world revolutionary movement. Family biographers described Mayer Rothschild as a poor man who lived with his family above his goldsmith shop and sold rare coins to royal customers. Contrary to appearances, Mayer stashed a big supply of gold, precious coins, and jewels in special hiding places inside his house. One special hiding place was beneath the back courtyard, where he accessed his strongbox through an underground passageway. Mayer taught his 5 sons the tricks of the trade. To them, he wasn't just their father, he was their lord and master. To them, he was Lord Mayer.
You asshole, you suck. You and you fucking Jesus could kiss my ass, okay? Go away. Screw you. Whoa. You fuck. Don't take the camera. We killed Jesus, we're proud of it. Screw you.
With the fall of Nazi Germany right on schedule, Stalin officially announced to the world that Hitler had escaped. U.S. and British spin doctors quickly changed the story, claiming that Hitler had committed suicide and that his body had been burned beyond recognition by his own officers. The key words are beyond recognition. While people were busy celebrating the end of World War II and believing what they wanted to believe, the international banksters who had sponsored the genocide, torture, and suffering of non-ethnic Jews stole their wealth from Swiss bank accounts just as they had stolen the wealth of the Russian czars after financing the Russian Revolution. The Vatican was also tied to plundering Nazi gold, which had been stolen from the Jews. It is a well-documented fact that Pope Pius XII lent his support to the anti-Semitic Hitler and his Nazi regime. With the fall of Nazi Germany, the Rothschilds wasted no time waving their Balfour Declaration at the British government and reminding them of their written promise to give them Palestine. But how could the British promise the Arab land of Palestine to the Jews? In 1917, the British parachuted free opium and hashish to the Turkish troops and stole Palestine from them.
One ingenious stratagem was to parachute hashish and opium to the Turkish troops to try to keep their minds off the fighting. Allenby's strategy worked brilliantly.
During World War II, the British needed Arab oil and signed an agreement with the Arabs which forbid Jewish immigration into Palestine. Then at the end of the war, the British broke their agreement with the Arabs and allowed the Rothschild Jewish Zionists to smuggle hundreds of thousands of Jews from around the world into Palestine. To win public support, the Rothschilds, who owned Reuters and the Associated Press, bombarded their media empire with images of homeless Jewish Holocaust refugees crowded together in ships off the coast of Palestine. On October 24, 1945, the bankster pirates gave birth to their most powerful weapon of global control, the United Nations. According to plan, the British pulled out of Palestine and gave the land to the Jewish Zionists. These Zionist extremists call themselves God's chosen race of people and believe they have a God-given right to the land of the Palestinians. It is important to know that the land now called Israel was originally called Canaan in ancient times. Canaan was populated by the Canaanite people who were the ancestors of today's Palestinians imprisoned in refugee camps in Israel. About 3,500 years ago, the Semitic Hyksos kings ruled Egypt for 100 years, but were expelled from Egypt into Canaan. The Egyptians called these Hyksos people the Habarus, which means Hebrews. These expelled Hebrews invaded and conquered the land of Canaan and changed the name of the land from Canaan to Israel.